configurable, which is actually our controllers. Now, we said we had an air handling unit at this building, so you can say air handling unit. It wants to know what type of air handler it is. Is it a mixed air? Is it 100% outside air unit, makeup air type unit? 100% outside air dual dock? Is it just a standard rooftop unit? What do you might have? Right now, we're just going to say it's a rooftop unit. And what's really nice about this program is that, you just go through and answer questions. Fan status, it's got a supply fan. Most rooftops have a fan. Exhaust fan, does it have a general exhaust fan? We're going to say sure it does. Do we want fan status of that? We sure do. And as you're answering these questions on the left, it changes your sequence of operation on the right. So it's kind of nice. It's actually building your sequence of operation at the same time. We just added that additional fan, so supply fan status. Where's that? No, exhaust fan. Yeah, here's the exhaust fan it just added. If I uncheck this, that exhaust fan sequence goes away. Again, this is a huge time saver. Sitting down right now, sequence of operations takes forever. So it's kind of nice to do that. Economizer, if you've got an economizer or not, is it dry bulb, is it temp and humidity? We'll just leave it as dry bulb. You're going to reset the minimum outside air by CO2. Again, this is just a very simple sequence of operation that we're going through now. Cooling coils, is it DX cooling or is it, and then it'll want to know how many number of stages. Right now it's set up for just DX cooling, so if we change it to chilled water, maybe it's chilled water instead. And it's going to ask what kind of valve you're doing. Are you doing modulating or not? And do you want to monitor some temperatures around that chilled water coil, like entering and leaving water temperature? And when you change that, again, it changes your sequence over here. We'll just leave those kind of the same. There's extra little features if you wanted to monitor some things, or if you want to do humidification or dehumidification. All of that's available in this software to configure your controller. If you want to monitor some extra inputs and outputs from outdoor temp and humidity, if it wasn't part of your standard sequence, some filters. We want to monitor the filter. So you would add a filter switch in there. And down here, then it added that pre-filter status. Controller options is just a tab where you can change your standard setup on some of your inputs and outputs of your sensors, just to make it quicker. And also on this tab here, this is where it actually says I always leave it here, it says select best controller combination. So when you were answering all these questions and stuff, is it not only building your sequence of operation, your drawings, your bill of material, and points list, it's also building your configuration for the job. And it's also building the CAD file, the configuration file. So in most applications, you'd be 90% of your application or your project's done right then and there. And so it saves a ton of time on configuration. You just give it to your guys, you send them to the file, and they go out and do the install. Saves a lot of time. And the reason, we leave that as select best controller, that way it just picks if we need, based on our I/O count, if we need any additional I/O modules or anything. Again, you can get these controllers also mounted in panels, in Hoffman panels or plastic, or you can say panel by others or no panel. Say it's an existing job and we're tearing out some of those other brands. If you needed some additional I/Os, you can just add some additional points. We'll kind of keep it simple. So again, as you can see, build your sequence of operation. It's building your drawing, a flow drawing, bill of material. There's all your parts and pieces. Now we said it had a valve. There's a refine tab to change your valve, because all we did was said it had a valve. There are some relays for your heating, cooling outputs, some free stats, because we have a chilled water coil now. actuators, damper actuators, current sensing relays for fan statuses. There's the controller, transformer, and you can go in and delete any of this stuff or change the parts if you want to. And then it builds your IO2 points list. So cooling, all those things. We can say we're done. We're done with that configuration. We just took off the job. Once you get used to the software, I mean, a lot of guys might think that's, you know, kind of cumbersome, but you just worked up a rooftop unit, all of its points, configured it. You did the drawing for it, sequence and everything. Before I came to Johnson Controls, I was actually an ABCS contractor too, and I just know spending and sitting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and, you know, trying to get stuff done, even for guys to go out and install and stuff like that. This is a huge time saving for anybody to put stuff together. Even I don't know how many jobs people would send out, and maybe you didn't even do drawings, you know, the guys didn't have nothing, or you never had anything for a job site. This is a way to get all that done for you, so, to make sure it is done. But once we get into that, so you had a rooftop, you can even copy that rooftop if you wanted, and maybe you got multiples and they're all the same, so I can copy it and change the name, and so now I've got another rooftop done. So now I've got a couple rooftops done. So it's that simple. I've got 2 rooftops even done already. So you can do VAV boxes. VAV boxes are very simple. You can do, you know, 20, 30 boxes and copy them. The biggest thing that's with the system is you can replace that system, go back and make any changes to it. The biggest thing on this is refine. Once you're into that rooftop unit, and we do a class just on this, I can come over, I can go to your guys' offices, wherever you guys want to. If you need me to come to your office or do it here, you know, we can do a couple-hour thing on just the asset tool and go through it if you'd like. So I'm kind of going through it kind of quick right now. But the asset tool, as far as the I/O stuff, you know, we told it we had all these things. Here's the controller. You know, I picked the PCG1611. You know, heating output, it was staged output, so there's those relays, you know, that it wants to add in there. Maybe we don't need the relays. You can just go and say delete product. It's that simple. You don't need relays. If you leave them in there, you know, it's going to add to your cost, because this thing's going to add up all these costs of things. So you got to remember to take out some things. The cooling valve, we just said that we had cooling. We didn't tell it whether it was hot water, well, cooling wouldn't be hot water, but it's chilled water. If I would have picked hot, if I would have said it had heating, it may ask if you had steam or hot water, sorry. So if it's hot water, and it might be cooled hot water. So the cooling valve,
That's pretty good.
the cooling valve, it's telling you, it shows this red dot saying that you need to make a change, or you need to pay attention to this, because all it did was pick a valve. So if you go into modify product, because earlier I was talking about what this does too is build your valve schedule, your damper schedules. Another thing is a huge time saving for just even doing a valve schedule. This builds that valve schedule for you, which saves a lot of time. What? Uh-oh. I got a failure going. This is a beta one.
What it is?
Yeah, it's supposed to have the new product refined stuff for third-party stuff, but I don't have everything loaded, so it looks a little different. No, it's not going to let me do it. Ain't that nice? Shoot. But what you can do is go in and refine that product, tell it it's got a valve, what size valve it is, how many GPM, and all those things, and it'll actually do the valve schedule for you. Yeah, it doesn't like me doing it for some reason.
Set it open.
I know.
You got too many things open?
Let's find out here. It wouldn't hurt to see it that way. I had it open earlier, maybe it is. Oh, there it is.
Wow.
So I already had it open. So here's the valve. What you can do now is you can just, don't think I can. I can only keep it as water because that's what it was.